Okay, hello everyone, and welcome to, hopefully you can see the top of my head, this little unboxing and inspection of the video card that I got. I got the EVGA SC Ultra. This is a 1650 Super. I paid $200 more than retail for this. It's a $230 card normally. As you can see, the it appears to be sealed. I got this from eBay. I hear something rattling around in the box, but I don't see any residue around the edges. But I think how I'll really know if it's actually sealed is when I open it up and I take a look inside. So let's go ahead and do that. Now, my previous card that I had was this. So I've been told that I'm getting roughly double the upgrade. This is an R7870 double D. This uses the DDR RAM. Yeah, right here, DDR5. And apparently, I don't know if it was the same case when I got this, because the computer you're about to see I built back in 2012, 2013. But apparently, you need to go for the GDDR RAM because that is going to be faster. And they're trying to cheap out on some of these video cards now by including, I got this from Linus Tech Tips or somewhere, by making the newer video cards have the DDR RAM, which is slower and not as good as the GDDR RAM. So that's what I had here, though. It's held up. It's done everything I needed to do. I can play Minecraft on. I can record Minecraft. I mean, it's a 11-year old video card and it's doing fine. So I didn't do a bad purchase on it. The one thing that this has that this card does not have, this is a 256-bit card, which means the highway is wider for the data to travel through. This has something like 128 on its default, but then it does 192 some way or another. I don't know exactly how that works yet. So I'm going to lose a little bit of speed because of that. But this has 4 gigs of RAM in it, and of course, it's the faster memory. Well, as this one only had 2, as you can see right here, it just has 2. And I'm going to, of course, sell this when I get all done, but I don't know if anybody will actually want it. This only works for games up to DirectX 10 or 11. I could not play Abduction with this card. I should be able to play Abduction, which is the game that the people that did Myst created, their last game that I know of. I should be able to play that with this. This will unlock all the DirectX 12 titles. But we're putting this into a very old gaming PC that I put together back, as I said, in 2012, 2013. And I'll introduce you to it here shortly. Let's take a look and see what we have. I figure by how it's packed inside, because this is such an expensive card on its normal retail price, I think EVGA is pretty top of the line. I'll know inside if how it's packed if it's been tampered with. It'll be pretty obvious, I think, to me. I can see the box has been squished slightly to one side. You can see right here. Not quite sure how this opens. It feels like an insert, but it's not an insert. So I've got this bubble wrap thing going on here. Now that, I'm not familiar with video card manufacturers using bubble wrap like that. Let's see what we've got in this one. That's new to me, so. Yeah, I gave myself some information in here. I wrote stuff down for myself for whatever reason. I was probably trying to figure out what I was doing here with putting all this together. Yeah, see, there's no bubble. I don't even have a. That's not good. I'm supposed to have a anti-static envelope. I don't really want to pack this up without an anti-static envelope, but I don't have one. It's not in here. I didn't save it. And I saved everything else, so I don't know why I didn't save the anti-static envelope. I'm assuming it came with one. I'll have to use the one from here, I guess. This card I can use in my next build. The idea is sometime down the road, first I have to figure out where I'm living in 2 months. But if I end up at a house and I end up with some kind of income and I can save up, I will build an RTX system. In the interim, I can get the parts. I can use some off of this. I've got a 750-watt power supply. You'll see it in a second. I can use some of those parts and I can use that for my new computer. I just got to figure out how to clean. You'll see it's pretty dirty in there. Anyway, let's open this up and see what we've got in here. So we've got a little seal here. But this, to me, I'm not 100% sure this is straight from the manufacturer. I might have got gypped, but as long as it works. I mean, if I don't know that it's not new, if I can't tell for 100% certain if something, like if I see dust on it and grime, then I'll know it's not new, and then I'm definitely going to complain and get a return and file a complaint with eBay and PayPal. But if I don't know, if it comes out and it looks brand new and it works fine, how am I going to complain about it? If I didn't mention, I got this at eBay. That's a lot of padding for one card, and it's smaller than my other card. We've got another seal here. Let me know if you think that looks professional for EVGA. I've never had an EVGA anything, so I don't quite know how they operate. Now, I don't know if you can see, but the floor here, there's a rug that goes right about to here where I don't know if you can see my foot or not on that, but I've curled it up because you don't want anything other than hardwood or linoleum when you're trying to work with electronics like this. One thing I see Linux Tech Tips doing all the time, and it makes me cringe every time I see it, is how he just brastles with the electronics. And I always am careful. I use the bag. I put the stuff on the bag so that it does not have any chance of, because if this gets fried, then that's $430 down the road, down the tube. I don't have any metal to discharge on except my computer back here. All right, let's open up. And I don't want to touch it by anything other than its bracket or its fan. And we'll do a visual. Ooh, something slid off. I don't know what I don't have to take the grip. Oh, okay, there she is. Looks like I've got the peels in place. That looks promising. Those are very hard to put it back into shape. I'm sure somebody really industrious and smart could do it, but I don't think a scammer is going to take too much time to put all that back into place. This little piece of plastic or rubber is where it's supposed to be. I've got my slots back here. I have no idea why they're including DVI. Do we still use DVI in monitors anymore? This has the metal back plate, and I love the looks of it. When I first saw this card, even though I knew it was an RTX, I couldn't do an RTX thing with it. I know that I think 1650 does allow RTX. I have to double check that, but it's not going to work for that. When I first saw this card, I saw how beautiful it was. I'm like, I have to own one of these. I have to. I didn't spend a lot of money on a video card. Here's what's kind of funny. If I'd gotten this retail price, about $230, I think that's about what I spent for the, when I got this 10 years ago, I think it was about $200 or just under $200. I got it from Newegg brand new. So anyway, everything here looks good. So we're going to set this to one side, and I don't see any sign of use. I see no dust. Let's get out a flashlight. I don't want to touch it after touching the flashlight, but I don't see anything in here that shows me that this has been used. If somebody has actually scammed and tried to clean this, they'll have caused damage and it won't run. But it seems to me that it's unlikely that a scammer is going to take the time and care to clean it and then put the peels back in the exact same position. I think what we got here is an actual new one. I paid $200 more than retail, but you know what? We're good with that. We're going to turn off the video for a second. I got to check to make sure everything's working, and then we'll be back with the computer out here. Well, hello everyone, and welcome to my gaming rig. This is in a, I believe it's a Lian Li case. I still have the box for it. Inside is an MSI, I never remember it, G77A, something like that, gaming motherboard. And I have an i5 processor. I think it has 4 cores. And I have, of course, the video card you saw. And you can see it is filthy. And this is a Seasonic 750 or 650, I think it's 750 watt power supply module. I went and I got the gold certified thing for that. So I spent good money on this. I'll show you my wiring job. And this is kind of funny because I'm coming back to this after building it. This is heavy, by the way. This is a very heavy case. And I don't even know my own way around everything that I did. But there's my wiring. And you can see we have some definite cleaning issues. The problem is I can get an anti-static vacuum cleaner for a couple of $100 and I can try to clean all of that out. I can use a regular vacuum cleaner. It's kind of cringy to do that because it could cause static shock, but I've never had a problem. This is ridiculous. I have to clean some of this anyway, but you can see that this is a mess. I don't know where to go to get it cleaned. I don't know how to do that. I don't know how much money it costs. I don't know if it's trustworthy to take it to a cleaner type place. There is a computer place downtown, and I can see how much they would charge me. It'd probably be $40 or $50 to clean it, but I don't know. But I've got caked on dust everywhere. The next case that I'm going to get will be one with the magnetic air filters. And I think Linux Tech Tips suggested what did they say, pull or force? They said some version of the air being put out of the case that is supposedly, according to them, creates less mess like this. So that's what I would do for the next one. Pardon me for all the burping and stuff. I just ate. I had some coffee. You can see my little MSI. I was pretty proud of myself. Regular hard drives in here, as much as Linux Tech Tips criticizes it. It's a Seasonic X850. It might be an 850 watt. I thought it was 750. 80 plus gold certified. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with that. That's a good power supply. You can see my video card in here. And a couple of things we're going to have to be careful of. First thing I've got to do, that might end this series a little short, is I have to check in here and see if I've got the hookups for the power and everything for that card. Because if I don't have it's the right PCI Express, and I think you can use 4 in 3, although you get some bandwidth cutting. They are backwards and forwards compatible. But I don't know about the power, and I don't have my extra cords. So that's the end of this video if I don't have what I need to hook in the card. I have to go into storage and find it. My motherboard doesn't actually look too dirty, and I did clean this fan recently. I've got the cooler master with the fan here. I've got a fan in the back. So let me know what you think of how I did this cooling, and if Linux Tech Tips is watching, maybe you have some feedback for a fellow computer nerd that would help me to improve this system. I've got fans right here and a filter. And then up here I've got a DVD drive, probably, or a Blu-ray drive, I think actually. And then I've got my hard drives here, but I have to redo the hard drives. Everything there is a mess right now. But this is what I'm going to use for the next couple of months with the new card. I would like to be able to do better stuff within Minecraft and all of that. I tell you right now, the EVGA card is smaller. Definitely smaller. I think that might be a 22 board. The measurement of how thin it is, I think. Quote me on if I'm wrong on that, but this is older technology. I don't think I had much 22 stuff in this. Let me see. I've got 4 pin, I think. Well, I can unplug and find out. Oh man, if I break something, I'm gonna cry. 6 pin. Now this uses the EVGA, and I'm pointing over here. You can't see it probably, but I'm pointing over here. The EVGA uses less power, I've heard. Let's see what the EVGA tells me. The EVGA requires only one 6-pin. But okay, well, I've got the connections. Now the next question is, which one do I use? do I just randomly pick one of the power cords and hope for the best? Because I've got two plugged in here. One's going to be extra. I can take and unplug it out of here if I thought that was necessary, or I can just put it down below. But I don't know if it has to be a specific one for this particular hookup. But yeah, this is just one 6-pin. That's cool. So I'm actually overdone. When I made this, I didn't make it, of course. I put it together. I got the parts. I shopped. I did research. I actually used hard form at the time. And due to various factors, I since left them. But when I put this together, I got a lot of advice from all of those people. I did my shopping around. And I did my research. And so I shopped forward ahead. I wanted to make sure that what I got would be future-proofed. And here I am using it 10 years down the road. That's the way you want to build your computer. You want to get it as future-proof as you possibly can. The way you do that is you get the best components that you can possibly afford and get when you put your computer together. And then you also have to make sure that you double what your requirements are or triple them. I don't need, this is an 850 watt, I don't need an 850 watt power supply at all. Not, especially not even with this new card here. I would have needed it back in the day when I was going to maybe do an SLI or Crossfire with a couple of these. And I just screwed up. I realized something. I didn't remove my, I didn't uninstall my AMD drivers off of here. That's going to be a mess. I'll let you guys watch that painful process when I get all done, I guess. I was going to do that. That's the first step I should have done, was remove the old drivers. I didn't remember to do it. But anyway, I didn't need all that power, but I shopped and did ahead. I got stuff that was a little more powerful. And because of that, I was able to get, 10 years of use. Well, not direct years. I had a couple years use before I put it in storage, and a couple, maybe a year use now. So let's see what we've got here. Now, this is actually upside down, believe it or not. And the reason why it's upside down is so that I think there's a grill on the other side of this dustbin. So it's to suck it through that. Oh man, I need to clean that too. That's terrible. So yeah, I had to read it upside down. I can't read at all. It's all just coated in dust and I can't read it. I'm just going to guess that the inside one will be, if there is a number 1, it'll be the inside, and the outside will be number 2. And hopefully it won't destroy the card. It shouldn't. All it should do is just not run if it's not hug cooked incorrectly. I hate doing stuff incorrectly because I don't want to have problems, but what are you going to do, when you got that kind of situation going on? So let's unplug this and rip this out of here. Yeah, look at that. I even went ahead here. Okay, it looks like it's, oh no, there's two cords, but they're all bound together somehow. They're 2 cords. It looks like they're 2 cords connected as one, but yeah, I've got 6 pins and I've got 2 pins. And they don't have numbers on them. They just say PCIe, PCIe. So I'll just plug in one of the 6 pins and cross my fingers and hope for the best. But that tells you how our technology has changed and grown and advanced over the years. This silly cord here. Now, these have a little hook in them. If you notice, that little foot at the, I don't know if you can see it through my arm, that little foot at the bottom, that little hook, that's how you have to slide it in. You have to take it out this way and in this way. My toolkit, and I'm not sponsored or anything, but this is an old Roswell toolkit. It got me through college. I got a computer support degree with it. This is what I use. It may not be high quality or high end, but it works for me. I've had no problems with it. This is a ratcheting screwdriver. I'm old school. I like to do manual type controls on everything. Oh, and I should have my brace. Another thing that Linux Tech Tips does, you probably will laugh at me if you ever sees this. I mean, this is like new territory here to do this, but I always do this because when you pay $400 for a video card, you're going to take every precaution here. You know, clip this onto the case somewhere. It's annoying and gets in the way, but now another problem I might have is if I'm missing any plates. One of the cool things with this particular case that I got, this is a Lian Li Lam Cool. That's the screw for the putting in your holding in your hard drive, so you can work it with your thumb or your screwdriver. I don't know if you can see that very well, but there's a screwdriver end, and then you see it's thick. I think I got the Lian Li on sale. It was somewhere in the vicinity of $60. And again, I wanted to shop ahead, but I also wanted a case with lots of room. I didn't want to have a case that didn't have enough room to do everything I needed to do in it. And I want a lot of area to move with. I don't like being crowded. So now you won't be able to see it from your angle, but there's only 2 screws holding in this video card, but there's a 3rd screw, and it's right here, and it's tight. I have to loosen it. And it's right on the edge of this bracket. Were I to try to pull this card out without doing this 3rd screw that's not in any hole in the card bracket, it's just on the side, on the edge, I would damage the card. You have to be careful. I know that when you watch a guy like Linux Tech Tips, that I know I've been mentioning him a lot, but I've been watching a lot of his videos. It's kind of fun. But when you watch somebody like him, he just seems to get in there and rip everything out, put everything in, not even take any care. Well, he has a lot of experience. He knows what he's doing. But the rest of us, we have to be very careful, even if we have a lot of experience and know what we're doing. Even if we have college degrees that say we know what we're doing, we still got to be careful. Because any kind of haste, well, it's just going to make an expensive mistake. Now I've got another problem. I don't have anything to put this card on to protect it. It should be okay. It's old and who cares, but I don't think I'll even be able to sell it. Not even do a minor. But oh crap. Okay, do I have a lock that I'm not aware of? Is there any other part that I don't know about? I'm feeling resistance, and I don't want to pull the board up and then damage my motherboard because then I'm screwed. Okay, another tip. I almost screwed up. Pardon the language. There's a little latch on the motherboard for this card. Didn't remember it having that. I did not remember that at all. If I had continued to pull, when I felt resistance, I tried to yank it out and not take my time, broken motherboard. I think I might still have something. Almost. I've unlatched it. I think it's okay. Okay, there she is. The good old XFX, and you can see obviously that it's been used for a very, very, very long time. It's actually not too bad inside, though, believe it or not. Must have pretty good fans on this. I never even really knew much about XFX boards. It was the right price, and I just took a gamble, and that board has held up. It's a good video card. Yeah, I've got 2 little latch thumbtack thingies. I guess they pop up when you go in. I got an MSI thing here that's dusty. I'm going to go ahead. Oh, I might have some damage. No, that's not damage. I'm going to do a no-no here, and I'm going to blow because I want to get some of this dust off of here. Not really healthy, not really good for you. And if you spit, well, you're going to damage things. That's why they recommend using a straw. I didn't bring a straw with me. I got a fan going up there, so that'll help. I should be wearing a dust mask. And I'll let it dry out. So any spit droplets will dry by the time it gets turned on. Not the safest way to do it. Do not follow my example. It's not really a smart idea. But in this case, I'm not really doing anything that's going to damage anything. I'm not spitting on anything that's going to damage anything. I'm looking for water droplets and I haven't seen any. I've got some jammed up PCIe slots, I think, with dust. But I got it a little more cleared, so it's a little better. So we're ready to go to put this in. All right, I'm going to walk away and check the status of the recording. I've got a couple of Mushkin 8 gigabytes total RAM on the end there that I just added. Little FYI, if you ever take a computer class or if you ever do any of this type of computer work, you can't always guarantee that you're going to be somewhere where you have a lot of light. Get you one of these and get the highest quality one you can get. If you can find an Olight headlamp, I'm not sponsored, but I've heard that Olam's supposed to be pretty good, especially one of the USB rechargeables. And especially one that has a removable rechargeable battery, so you can both recharge it and replace the battery. The brighter the better, but you get one of those and you can see in here while you're working and your hands are free, which is of course what you want. I had a headlamp when I put this together. I had a headlamp when I went through college, and I was the only guy that had it, but I had no problems hooking things up and working on things. A little bit of foresight goes a long way. But this headlamp is weak. I need new batteries. Okay, so I'm not going to do any more prep work here. I'm just going to put this in. We need to get rid of some peels. So I think the best way to do that would be to hold it like so, and I have to be really careful that I don't drop it. So I've got a little rubberized gasket or something here, and it's proven difficult to remove. I don't want to put any pressure on any of the board components. There we go. And then I got one up here on the bracket. Okay. Yeah, it even says on here, remove before use. So now I gotta find, and I'm kind of nervous. I don't like this position. I really want to be on a table doing this. I don't know how well these are going to remove. So I'm going to go a little off where you can't see here because I want more of a stable surface here. This. I hate to pick up the card and hoist it around because I don't want to damage anything. But I want you guys to enjoy the peel removal, if that's something that you like. I got something here. Apparently this EVGA has a metal backplate. Yeah, that peel would be, try to put that back on and sell it as new. Not easy. You want the peels off because you want to be able to breathe. And I'm not sure I've got all the residue. I want to look real quick. Okay. I like how this is smaller. This is nice. I don't know how it's going to go in. Every video card is different. They all are fussy. They all like to fight a little bit. I know the general way it's going to go, but so the key here is to not use force. You might get advice from people to tell you to be forceful with it. Don't be forceful with it. Because you got a couple of different things you got to look out for. The bracket end over here can catch, and that will prevent you from getting it down. Your foot could not be in the right place, and that could give you a problem. And your notch might not be lined up. You try to put your board on with your notch not lined up, and you put a lot of force, you'll break your motherboard, you'll break your card. Okay, now I'm a little bit leery because I had to really push hard on that. Okay, we got a problem. My holes aren't lining up. My holes aren't lining up. I believe everything is in, but something clicked or clunked. That's fine. My case, for whatever reason, it's not quite right, but I can just do this and that will line it up. So that's good, but I want to make sure I didn't make a boo-boo somewhere. Yeah, I've got the little slot up. It looks as if everything is lined up inside. It's very hard for me to see. I'm checking that all the metal is inside the bracket and nothing is shunted off. I think it's good. I'm not sure. I think. Now, one thing we could do is we could hook up a power and just let it go to post. But I'm just going to go balls to the wall and just hook it up. And I'll do that in the next. I'll have it hooked up. I put it behind the TV here. So I'll hook it up and I'll just turn it on. You'll see the TV. Okay, so let's see. Yeah, it's fitting in there real nice. So I'm going to go ahead and just adjust based on what the case requires. Oh dear. These screws can be finicky. Get one in and then the other ones will follow. So this is not a two-hole design. This is a single hole in the middle, and then it has a little notch hook thing on one end, and then of course it will have the edge thing, but I don't think it's made quite as I don't think XFX did theirs quite right, because it was a little bit bigger than its area where it was supposed to be, or at least for this case. But you got to remember that the case is, no, it's the same thing, same story. It's not XFX, it's just how it is, how this case is. Yeah, because this one's doing the same thing. It's just on the edge. So I've got 3 screws, one on the edge, one over here, and there's a little hook, and then one in the middle where there's a hole. But I've pushed the back of the case in so I could line up the screws. But I did that after I verified that everything here was pushed down and locked into place. It doesn't look, now I could be wrong on this, but it doesn't look level. Now I've looked inside and everything looked lined up, but I'm seeing a slant like so. Not a huge drastic slant, but enough of one that I'm worried. So I'm going to pull this up here. And, oh goodness gracious me, I can see better where we've got here. Now I've pushed on this a couple of times, and I want to be careful I don't push on it much more, because if I crack this motherboard, then we're screwed. It's a Z77A GD65 gaming motherboard, in case you're wondering, with a Core i5 Intel processor. This is my first Intel build. I was going to do AMD back at that time, but AMD wasn't as good at that time for what I wanted. AMD is now the way to go. My next build will be a Ryzen build. No, there's no give. It's not moving. I'm going to assume it's in place. The worst thing that will happen is it won't start because it won't be able to. Dust is getting to me now. It won't be able to find the video card because it's not hooked in correctly. I need to angle this towards you so you can see a little more of what I'm doing. Now, one of the biggest mistakes you could make when you are screwing in any sort of a peripheral or card or whatever into your computer is to wrench down on that screw on the back. Don't do that. Don't give in to that. Go until it's like 2-finger tightness. Unless you have gorilla fingers and you can break things with your 2 fingers, don't go that way. But most of us, 2-finger tightness is fine. So that's why you see me doing what I'm doing. Okay, let's randomly pick one of these things and plug it in and see what kind of mess we get into. Now, are these separatable at all? I mean, I don't quite understand what I'm looking at here. They don't look separatable. It looks like it came that way. It came like this 2-cord and then this big mess here. I don't see any way. It's not put in a way that I can undo it. I don't think. Because if I could put 1 cord away down below, I would. I don't want to put too much pressure or damage my cords, of course. Yeah, there's no way. So all we have to do is just make sure this is out of the way. Okay. Now there's a latch and then there's eyes, and I guess this is the correct way to do it. Okay. Okay. Piss poor cable management on that, but I'm not going to worry about that. Right now, we're a little late in the game to be worrying about our cable management. Okay, I'm going to stop the video. I'm going to close this up. I was thinking of cleaning the other side. I might clean it out, I might not. This right here is terrible. But I don't know if I want to mess with it right now. I'd rather just get it started, make sure it's running. But yeah, this is pretty terrible. But anyway, I'll stop the video, we'll come back. I don't know what I'll do yet, and then I'll get it hooked up back here and we'll turn it on and see what happens. Okay, I'm not sure that I've got all the settings consistent and correct, but what I've done is I've taken a damp washcloth, and by damp I mean I cleaned it out and then I thoroughly squeeze and squeeze and squeeze, and I only use it on the outside surfaces on the bottom and on the inside of this front panel, which comes off for the fans. Cleaned out all the fans. I'm doing a little gamer nesting. Got a new card in here. You got to do a little gamer nesting. Move the XFX over onto the static envelope. That's where it will live. I'll put it in the static envelope in the box, and then I'll be short a static envelope whenever it comes time to do anything with the other card. I've also cleaned the dust off back behind. So now you can watch my awesome upper body strength at work. This thing weighs, I kid you not, somewhere between 20 and 40 pounds. because it has rubber feet on the bottom, you can't really slide it. I don't want it too near the edge, of course. That should make perfect sense. Probably try to move it in a little further if I can. The reason why it's behind the TV is, as you can see, I really don't have any other place to put it. Now, I'm going to give you a bit of a tech tip. I'm not sure that Linux Tech Tips has mentioned this, but you need to use a surge suppressor with your computer. When I bought the power supply, I got one that had protection in it already. Because I learned a painful lesson. I had a computer before that. I think it was a gaming computer. My uncle, he got me into this. And he had built it for me. And I was really happy. It was a really awesome little computer. But because of where I had it plugged in, I had it plugged in directly to an outlet. And the power supply didn't have any protections. It was Swiss cheese by the time it stopped working. I think I had sparks and smoke even. Because the power coming to your house isn't always going to be consistent. Now, maybe that's different if you have solar panels on your roof and you have some system that's in place that regulates it and makes sure that only this much current comes through and it always is that amount. If you have a system that does that, you're golden. But if you don't, like probably most of us, or if you're in a third world country where power is really terrible, you need a surge suppressor, not a power strip, although they look the same. You need a surge suppressor. And same as with the power supply. When you get your power supply, you want to have those protections for surge. They're not called over. It's not called surge. It's called over something protection. And there's some other protections. If you get the gold and silver certified ones, you're usually going to have that to platinum, I think, as well. I think there's platinum certified. Mine's gold certified, so it has that. But you have that first, that's your final layer of defense for your computer, because you can rip out a power supply and replace it, and none of the components will be damaged if any damage stops there. But if you have something before that, then that helps your power supply. So a surge suppressor, the most dual protection that you can get, plugged in, your computer plugged into that, and that plugged into the wall, that's going to keep you safe. When there's brownouts, when you don't notice the power's gone down and up again, or there's surges or anything like that, the surge suppressor protects anything from coming through there and damaging the stuff plugged into it. So keep that in mind. And don't just buy the cheapest thing you can get. Just like for your power supply, with everything else in your computer, buy ahead and get the most powerful thing you can afford. Even if it seems heavy duty and industrial, go for it, because you can't have too much protection on your power sources. Anyway, this is plugged into a surge suppressor here, and then another one down below, because neither of them are very good. But it has like two in a chain. And then, of course, the power supply has its own protections as well. I think I'm good enough on it, but it may not be enough because I don't have really heavy-duty stuff. Because I don't have the equipment that I had when I moved, where I was living before. I had different equipment. I think one of them is down there. I might have some of the same equipment. I think I ran out of funds and I couldn't afford to buy a more powerful surge suppressor, but I have been pricing them, and it is something I want to do. Anyway, let's plug this in. We're going to turn this on and take a look at it together, see what we get. And if we're lucky, the computer won't stick out its tongue at us and say, hey, I ain't going to work. Heck with you. My HDMI connection is a little worn and old. And this looks like it has another connection next to it. I don't know which that is, but there's another connection next to it I've seen. That's pretty cool, whatever it might be. Do I have this hooked? What is this? This is my, that's my microphone. This is my, yeah, okay, yeah. Another thing that you might want to get yourself is one of these, a USB switch, but be careful with these. I got one recently and it wouldn't work in DOS. It doesn't work in DOS. It doesn't know how to operate in DOS. So I could not use it. and this is an old one that I got, and it's an Oracle, and it works fine. It works in DOS. It gives me enough ports, but you're going to want one of these things, especially as you use a case for a long period of time. Your slots are going to wear out. Your USB 3 and USB 2 slots are going to wear out, and I might show you later on the camera, but all of my slots are pretty worn on this computer now. That just comes from use. You can't really get around that. All right, hold on a minute. I gotta get my keyboard. I gotta run through a maze here. I bought an aftermarket Ugreen power connector for this wired mechanical keyboard. And I should be turning this off and then turning it on after I plug everything in so it can register. Okay, crossing fingers. Let's get everything turned on and see what kind of mess I made. If I'm lucky, blessed, I think blessed would be a better word. If I'm blessed, it's going to start up. I'm not going to have any trouble other than driver issues, which is easy to deal with. I just got to uninstall the old and put in the new. Because I'm going from AMD to GeForce, or rather Radeon to GeForce. Same difference. Okay. And I'm hoping I didn't screw something up. I'll listen for any beeps. Because that angle of that card is throwing me off. I don't know why there's an angle to it. But I checked and double checked and everything was flush. Well, I don't hear a beep, and I don't see a picture on the screen. Not boding well. Could be that it's trying to install it. So it was getting a signal when I had it in the other situation. It's loading something. I can hear it loading. I see a light come on down below. Still not seeing a picture. So the next step after I let it load and do its loading that it's doing is to take off the cover and make sure that the video card is running and actually powered. But it's still loading something. So it could just simply be a matter of it doesn't know to put the picture out onto the TV right at the moment. There are settings involved with trying to hook up to a normal TV like this. You don't want to run your computer too long with your panels off of it because that messes with the airflow. But apparently this card runs a little cooler, so I shouldn't have any trouble with that. I can't tell. Why am I blind? I can feel, I suppose. I can't feel anything either. I can't tell if it's moving. Oh, poo. My video card does not have power. Now, I could miss a pin. I could have hooked it into the wrong pin. It could be not in the slot correctly. So we're going to do a little debugging. I'm going to turn off the computer, the hard turn off, excuse me. And I'm going to put in the other power cord. Your video card, of course, has to have power to run. There could be, oh crap, oh. Don't do what I did and try to yank it out when there's a little tab you gotta press. That was stupid. I'm nervous and I'm messing up a little. can't see. There we go. I don't want that getting near the fan. Let's try that again. We have power. It should show a picture. Okay. So, guess what? One of my two 6-pin connectors was the one you have to use if you're only using one. And I didn't know this. Or I didn't remember this. Or both. But I screwed up. I really reefed on that cord and pulled the card a bit. So I might have messed up its connections. I don't really want to spend an hour looking again. But I messed up. I see no exposed metal. It looks parallel like it's supposed to. Actually, it looks like it's seated right now with the hooking it into the case like I did, making the case work with it. Okay, let's see what Windows tells me. And yes, I'm still using Windows 7. So sue me. So I had a whole bunch of clips where I was installing the drivers and then running Minecraft and going through all that process. But mostly it could just see my back. It couldn't see the screen of the TV. It was too far away and too reflective. My big body was in the way, so I've deleted all of that and just moved ahead. So what you're looking at on the screen right now is the results for the 3D Mark 11 DirectX 11 test for my previous build of the system, which included the H7870 Radeon video card. Now the only change that has been made is I have added this new GeForce GTX 1650 Ultra SC EVGA card. So we're about ready to see what the results are for that, and I have some other material showing you some of the stuff going on with the test. Okay, so now let's take a look at what we're getting with the EVGA GeForce GTX 1650 Super SC, and boy is that a mouthful. So what we have here is an X5514, graphics score of 5289, physics score 7137, combined score of 6220, GT1 is 29.45, GT2 is 27.76, GT3 is 26.97, GT4 is 14.96, PT is 22.66, and CT is 28.93. So around about 30 frames a second, if that's what that is. This is saying some of the specs here. Now it automatically loaded this up for me. So here's what we get here. We have a score of X5514 according to here, which is a little bit more than what you need for double to get this 4K gaming PC score of 10130. So it's just a slightly more than half of what you would need for a 4K gaming PC, but it's well over a gaming PC that you would use for like a VR type rig, which is really good. If I understand correctly, you got to have a pretty powerful PC to do VR, and the fact that I am 500 points over what you would need for a VR minimum specs, I think that's pretty good. I think I was about an office PC or gaming laptop with my previous score. We'll verify that shortly. And all I have changed is, of course, the video card. So now we have this video card instead of the H7870. We have the different RAM. We now have double the memory, 4096. Our clock speed, I believe, is slightly ahead. I will show that shortly. I think we've had newer drivers. We weren't able to get new drivers with the other one. We have a 22 nano process for the processor, and I think that's the same for the video card. So it is running a little cooler. Same RAM that I just added, the 8 gigs. So I have 16 gigs total RAM, and I guess I had 8 gigs total RAM before. So here's a PDF. It's pretty bad format here, but you can kind of see what we had. It was putting us, it said we were getting a X2 625. So it's just slightly over an Office PC of 1909. And it's slightly more than half what you would need for the gaming PC minimum specs. What I have is actually over half of this, and that's what I was told. I was told by somebody at the Tom's Hardware Forum, so shout out to you. You did good. You gave me good information. I was told that I would get double. I'm getting slightly more than double. It'd be like 52.50 or something like that to have double, but I'm getting 55. I am paying, the price for it, of course, $200 over retail. This card, the old one that I had, so the old card was $229 new, bought new. The XFX Double D Radeon HD. Actually, I think it's an H now, an HD 7870. I don't know why I say HD there. With the DDR RAM, say GDDR RAM. This card also retails, MSRP is $229 that I just installed, I believe. So I paid $200 more than that, though, but the retail price is the same. So that's kind of funny, thinking that I'm getting twice as much card for basically the same price if I hadn't been scalped and had to pay an extra $200. I have no complaints. If I'm getting double the card and I'm paying double the price, what would I complain about? I'm going to enjoy it. I've been playing around with Minecraft and trying to figure out the best shader and textures, and you're going to have some eye candy on my next Minecraft video because I'm still working it out, trying to find the textures that I like. My previous texture pack no longer works for me. It's just terrible textures. I don't like them anymore, so now I got to find another one. And I'm working on that, but I'm enjoying all of the stuff that I can do with the shaders and draw distance, and it's going to be awesome, and I'm getting good frame rates, so I have no complaints. I wish we didn't live in a time where we have to have scalpers, but I got my card. It's going to give me good use for the next couple of months while I live here. And if things somehow work out and I'm blessed and I end up in my own place and I can continue working for YouTube and I can continue using the computer, it'll keep working for me until I have enough money to buy a new rig, and then I can use it in the new rig till I can get an RTX card. Because that's going to be a year or two before those come into stock, so I'm not complaining. Anyway, let's continue on down here with this. So, what we had before, we had a clock frequency of 1,000 and a memory of 1,200. We're now at 1,500 something and 1,500, I believe, and 2048. So we're getting 4096 on the RAM. So we doubled that. We halved again the clock speed, so that's good. And I believe that it's also a 22 nano card. And you can see we have the same RAM from before. So that's our comparison. Everything is done now, and you can see how everything went. Let me know what you think in the comments below. I have only one complaint about this card, about this whole situation, and it isn't the scalping. The one complaint that I have is that when I turn off the power to this computer now, and then come back sometime later and turn it on, I get no signal to my monitor, or rather in this case my TV. I'm using a different TV out here because I've been kicked out of the house, so now I'm using the TV that I had out here. It's my old TV. It's an old Vizio 1080p. I'm running at 60 hertz, just as I was running 1080p 60 hertz in there. HDMI hookup, just like I'm doing out here. And for whatever reason, I have to wait until Windows fully boots up, and I don't see any picture or anything. I just have to wait for it to stop grinding and loading. I know it's loaded up, and then I have to hard power it off. I have to press and hold the power button to turn it off. After it shuts down, turn the power on again, I get a picture. Every time it does that. I've found one or two possible mentions of this on Google, but no solutions. I don't know what causes it. It's not a setting in the TV. I doubt it's a setting in Windows. It doesn't appear to be a setting in the BIOS. My guess is it's going to be a GeForce setting somewhere. I don't know what the deal is with it. I want to be looking around for some help for that. But that's very inconvenient, and I would like that fixed. So if you have any thoughts as to what could be causing this weird, no signal for the first load, and then you have to turn it off, physically turn it off, and then wait a second or two, turn it on again, and then you have a picture. And it works like that. Almost works 99. I think that works 99.9% of the time. I don't think it hardly ever doesn't work. That is the process that I have to do to get a picture. If you can tell me what's causing that, I would sure appreciate it. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it informative and interesting. If you have any questions, please be sure to post them in the comment section below. Catch you guys in the next video. Okay, well, that concludes this episode. Be sure to leave a thumb up if you like the video. Be sure to subscribe if you want to see more videos like this or any of my other videos. Be sure to hit that notification icon so that you can be notified when any new videos are released. And leave me some comments, feedback, suggestions so that I can improve and do even better for you guys. Also, please stop by my Teespring store. I've got more designs coming over from Spreadshirt, but this is what I have here right now. I've got 3 cool designs. I've got this mask does not equal safe. It's kind of an attitude for everybody trying to make us wear masks right now. I've got this Zen saying and drawing that I did, to reach your destination, embrace the journey. I think that's really cool. I've got a poem over here. Poem says, life doesn't have to be so hard. It has a flow. Sometimes you'll drift, sometimes you'll row, but you get to choose the destination you'll go. I think that's really cool also. So go ahead and grab some of this stuff, and that will support me and help me in my continuing work at YouTube, and I really appreciate it. Thank you for watching the video, and I will see you in the next one.